call this meeting to order at the Twn Mtg Board of Commissioners, 6:30 Monday, February 5th, 2024. Roll call.
Walter Benson.
Here.
Dan Taylor. Dale Sauer.
Here.
Sonny Mason.
Here.
David Bragg. Tim Quinn.
Here.
Do I hear a motion to excuse Mr. Bragg?
I make the motion to excuse Mr. Bragg. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. He is sick. His wife's sick, he's sick, and so anyhow, told him, you're sick, stay home.
Yes, please.
So anyhow, that's where he's at. So anyhow, let's all stand for the pledge and invocation, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. We thank you for this day that you've given us. And we ask that you be with each and every one of us, keep us safe, help us to do the things that would be pleasing unto you. All this we ask in your precious and loving name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody has the agenda in front of them. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the January 8th, 2024 meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to read the minutes. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Code Enforcement Officer, Lieutenant Chris Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Missed on that.
Thank you.
All right there. Yes, sir.
Good evening, fellas. How are you this evening?
Doing fine.
All right. So, just starting off compared to December, January is much quieter. We did no abatements in the month of January because I did 4 last month. I just followed up on some of the stuff I had been working on, trying to get that penalty or headed for road situation squared away. We got a good percentage of homeowners on board. There was a few homeowners that saw the blue lights and me crashing down in people's yards, so they just got into the mix and started doing it themselves, which is great. And that's really all for that. I'm just gonna keep my tabs on that one. And maybe next month I'll have a further update on that, but I'm hoping to get it all done. All right, complaint, Mills Branch Road at the top there with the DeMacario situation. Well, I hate to say it, but I got snowed. So he knows what I'm talking about. And now it's turning into a small junkyard. I'm gonna rectify that situation probably by week's end because that is made me angry. Okay, that was like a personal affront to me. So I'll take care of that one. And then we have the man across the street from there with the 1105 Highway 58, which is Mr. Whetstone, which we've been dealing with ever since I've been a code enforcement officer. On my last nerve tonight, I drove past there and there's a camper set up and I believe somebody's living in that camper back there right now. So I'm gonna again rectify that by week's end because I'll do the county thing on him with the camper in the back there. It was all hooked up and everything.
It's all right here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So those are the few things I want to take care of right away. If you guys have any other ideas, that's fine. Just get them to me, and I'll handle them as such. Still, that matter of 305 5 Aprils, which is that elderly lady. I'm working with her right now, trying to find her somebody cheap to help her out with those damn bushes in the front, get them cut back a little bit, because that's basically her biggest problem. And spring's right around the corner, and when spring comes in, those things are going to get bigger and bigger. So, trying to help her out on that one, trying to find her a person who'll do it reasonably. I'm hoping the guy that works for the town that we just hired recently is going to help out. All right, moving on to the sheriff's office call log. Last month there were 70 calls for service, 49 within town, and 21 in the ETJ. And again, just a mixture of all kinds of police calls. I went to one suicide in progress call myself last month here in the town. Suicide in progress, funny call. Susan, why would they give us close? I never got that one. But anyway, cry for help, that situation, I got in the head, I'm gonna kill myself, one of those things. So, all kinds of calls here in Pelletier, and that was one of them. I've included the list of the dispatch notes that accompany our calls that we see on our computers when we're dispatched these locations. Are there any questions you have for me this evening?
Yeah, well, Chief, in Old Blackbeard's,
And Mr.
doesn't he
West-
have until March before they pull the power
Yeah,
on?
we're gonna be talking to Chris. We just I found out this morning that the sale of the property fell through. And we are moving forward with telling him, I told Mr. Penrod this morning that we still want him out of there. So if he was making plans to move and had already made plans to move, he needs to carry on with that, because the building, it cannot continue to be used at all. It needs to be condemned. No ceiling, it's falling apart inside, there's water leaks everywhere. We're gonna do everything that we can to make it happen.
Okay, this is kind of one of the reasons I was kind of non-committal on that property this month, because I wasn't sure where, because I knew that he was gonna be out at some point. But now that he's not gonna be out.
Well, he's gonna be out, but
You know what I mean?
but the sale fell through of the
Right.
property.
Right, so we're gonna have to do some other things.
And I don't know if the person that was originally planning on buying the property thought that the building was usable, but the building's not usable. I mean, you can't even refurbish that building.
It's a death trap, it truly is.
Well, the guy that I spoke to, he kind of knew that the roof was shot. So, anyhow,
Yeah.
but, okay, well,
Yeah. It's
but
kinda-
still, if you got a guy in the camper, they
Well, I'm
need
gonna
to
take
go.
care of that one myself.
Yeah.
That one, that,
Breath of fresh air, finally see this stuff getting done. Appreciate your effort.
well, thank you.
And Chief Hunter,
Yes,
also
sir.
keep your foot on the gas over there.
Yes,
It's
sir.
outstanding progress.
We want him out.
Chris, thank you for the Paul thing.
Yeah.
They had another vehicle this week, so
I know.
it's like a car lot there.
And I went over there last night, they had one truck and a trailer hooked up to another truck.
That's been there for 2 weeks.
And I was
Yeah.
just like,
And he bought another truck. It's like one breaks down, he just goes and buys
buys another
another
truck
truck.
and just puts it in the
And
yard.
that fence is
And
horrendous.
Yeah, and I don't think that fence is gonna cut it for him.
No, that's not gonna make code. That's not gonna meet the code.
No.
But,
Yeah.
I
I thought
don't
the fence was a good idea. If he had a couple pieces, he was gonna hide behind it. Okay, that's what he told me. And I didn't know he was bringing in 10 cars.
well, he got the fence off the beach and beat the slats off of it and used the slats to put on the new fence. So
Yeah.
that tells you what I'm dealing with there. But I appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any more questions for Lieutenant Johnson?
Good job.
Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, next, West Cardiff Fire and EMS, Chief Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, and citizens. Call volume for Western Carteret for the month of January was 163 calls. That was an increase of 21 calls over last year, and quite quite a bit above average of 35 to 45, or 135 to 145 calls over the last several years. So that puts us back on track to jump above 2,000 calls again next year, which we felt like this past year, 2023, was a little bit of an anomaly. We couldn't figure out why, considering the weather was so good all year. But it's good to have a lower call volume, and like I've said before, we were praying for our ambulances. Now we've got all our ambulances, so I would say bring it on. We had a total of 163. 111 of those calls were EMS calls. 21 were basically fire related. 8 of them were some type of specialized rescue, including motor vehicle crashes and what have you, where both fire and EMS go. And then 23 of those were others. We categorize as others. It could be a lot of different things, a lot of the service calls we do and what have you. If someone calls and they need help getting a family member from an automobile into the house because they just got home from a doctor's appointment, that's a service call, so that's categorized under the other. It's that type of thing is categorized under the other. 68% of those calls were EMS calls for the month, and for the town of Pelletier, it was a total of 27 calls. They were the second highest third highest for the month of January. 18 EMS calls, 2 fire related, and then 7 in the other category. Fire Marshal's report for the month. He stayed pretty busy. Last week, he was in school and at the Midwinter Conference in Charlotte. 39 total inspections completed for the month of January. 2 of those were in the town of Pelletier. 22 smoke detectors were done during the month of January. And we make smoke detectors available for free to people in need. If an elderly person or someone calls us and says, I don't have a smoke detector, or my smoke detector isn't working, or what have you, we're providing them. Even if I have to buy them out of my own pocket, or the fire marshal buys them out of his own pocket. The state used to have a program and they stopped their program, but we're providing those for people in need. So usually average is about 3 or 4 a month that we provide for people. So he did 22 in the month of January. He did 2 plan reviews. There's some major plans going on in the district, as all of you well know, just from the construction that you know about. Did 9 Knox boxes. Knox boxes are what we make available to citizens, and we mandate for businesses to have a Knox box at the front door so that we have a key that will open the Knox boxes. Inside the Knox box is a key to get into the business, or in some cases residents, if the resident wants that. Fire prevention, there was no fire prevention programs for the young in January. Very seldom are there any in January. That usually ramps up as we get into the warmer weather. Fire protection systems checkout was 3. Training hours total was 36, and then he had North Carolina Fire Chiefs, like I said, 16 hours. 2 hours under training, and then North Carolina Fire Code and Ordinance Research, 8 hours. So he stays busy month by month, and he stays on top of things for us. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, that's the report for the month of January.
Well, just so that everybody knows, last month at the ILA meeting, Chief Hunter announced that he will be retiring at the end of June.
Yes.
So anyhow, he's fixing to head to the mountains.
Maybe. We'll see how long that takes. Also, I don't know if we mentioned last month or not, Mr. Mason had mentioned to me before the meeting started about the new boat. So Western Carteret Fire and EMS applied to the Big Rock for a grant. We found out that they had purchased a boat for the city of Morehead City as well as AB. Our fire and rescue boat was a 1982 or 83 model and was getting in pretty bad shape. It had a lot of work done it over the last 13 years, and all the work that has been done is all that's going to be done with that boat. So we applied for the grant, and at no cost to the taxpayer whatsoever, Big Rock did approve the grant, and we received that boat in December, and they've been working on it, getting the electronics in it and everything since then.
Okay, well, just tell us about the boat. Tell us about the boat.
It's, I believe it's 23-foot bay rider, one of the ones that you see down at Goose Creek, sitting out front next to the highway at Goose Creek Marine. It's very similar to the old boat, except of course it's a much newer model with all the new modifications that have taken place over the years. I'm not sure what the size of the motor is. It's not huge. I think maybe 95 or 100 yet, I think. But it's an extremely nice boat, and it'll do the job that we need it to do.
Very nice looking boat.
Very good.
Yeah, those are nice boats.
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
No,
That's all
sir.
I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Hopefully not fishing, but it'll be rescuing.
Well, it has stuff in there for the fishing poles.
Yeah, well, I
I
want
didn't
them
notice
taken
that.
out. Don't want there to be any temptation.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, next is the financial report. Walter?
Okay, in our general account, we have $239,307. Power bills, $33,437. And we are already beginning now to start working, getting together on our budget for next year, because that's gonna be coming up for. So we are starting to work on that. And I'll probably call on some of you, I know I will be calling on some of y'all to help me with this thing.
Okay.
So we are working on that. But, some things I'm personally concerned with, is that what we have budgeted, the amount of money we have budgeted for certain things, I think we were running over budget probably on some of those. I think we need to work on some of those stuff.
Yeah, we do. We do. But at least we're only
Yeah,
like $1,000 over right now. So
but we only got a lot of time left in this.
yes, we do. That we do. All right. Any questions? All right. Planning report.
We removed 3 items from the ILA, the ordinance to protect ourselves from landfills, and we also have some specifications or suggestions for subdivisions for sidewalks, common area, and lighting, and things of that nature.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Commissioners report. Mr. Quinn.
Don't have anything at this time.
Mr. Mason.
No, sir, I'm good.
Dan.
Yes, sir, I do. The town of Pelletier has 2 new street lights. They're on Pelletier Loop Road. We have already been commented on by Donna Biley and her neighbors. They said it has helped them considerably, but they are up. That basically is the gist of the conversation.
Okay. Walter, do you have anything else?
Just comment on what the planning board is doing. I commend y'all for what you are doing.
Thank you, Walter.
And we I've already spoke to Carlton and Brett. But we all have, it's imperative, I believe, that we get this ILWA squared away immediately. And the reason, but we'll get the reason about why we're going to take that out.
We will have a contingency statement signed, and we'll be ready for you guys to have our meeting next month.
Just her, rumor mills or rumor what they are, but there's things going that we want to stop this as quickly as we can before something does start. And once it starts, it'll be hard to stop. So. That's all I want to say about that. I don't want to get too much in paper.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I got a couple things. One, I need the board, approval to, appoint Walter Vincent as the alternate to the, ILA board. I need an alternate, because in July is when, I will chair the ILA board. So usually our alternate fills in while I'm the chair for that year. So do I hear a motion to?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Walter as the alternate to the ILA board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Present.
Okay. All right, next is the East Carolina Council. I'd like for the board to approve that B will attend those meetings for us. So anyhow, do I hear a motion to appoint B to do that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
A
All
new
right.
station alert has arrived.
Next, what the planning board has passed on to us, can it be put on our agenda for next month? Now, is that both of them or just one?
Just one, just the LIW.
LIW?
Yeah.
Now, with that change, doesn't it require
There will.
a public hearing?
Yes, and I'll make sure that the requirements.
Can they both be done at the same meeting, Carlton?
That's what we was getting at. Can we?
The subdivision?
No.
The IL, everything with the IL.
Wait a minute, Sue, I got it.
Oh,
The ILW ordinance, we would like to discuss it and then also have the public hearing the same night.
yes, yeah, that can be done. That
Alright.
can be done. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so B,
As long as we have enough planning board members to have a quorum, and we can get them to vote to basically reaffirm what they said tonight, then we'll have that signed, that signed document, then we'll be good.
will we need that document?
Yes, I'll basically take it from Sue and just hand it over to you.
So we can approve the same document?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Or
B,
very similar, yeah. You have to consider the document, but, I'll probably have something else signed, but basically use the same reasons that the planning board, is using for why they're voting on this.
okay, so you'll need to put the discussion changes to the LIW ordinance on our agenda. Then we'll also need to have a separately put public hearing for the ILA or LIW ordinance, and make sure that's in the paper.
Yeah, I'll send, I'll give you that.
Okay. All right, I just,
Can I ask Carlton one question? Do we have to sign that and approve it at our next meeting, or can we do it?
no, at the next meeting.
Well, yeah, we'll have to do it at the next meeting.
Okay,
But you can do it, give us, and we do it. And
yeah, I can get it, and we'll go ahead and approve it next meeting.
Okay, that's all I had. So anyhow, we'll move to new business, which is the discussion on animal control.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go or would you like me to go? Okay, yeah, so I know that this is a topic that we've discussed late fall, early winter summer timeframe. I went through the ordinance, and it looks like you have a copy of it as well. And the Carteret County's current ordinance says that if you adopt their article, that they can enforce the Carteret County ordinance here. So what does that mean? That means you're gonna have to adopt the same provisions that Carteret County has. And if you do that, then they have the legal ability to enforce the ordinance within the town of Pelletier. Now, there's a second stage to this, whether they have the legal ability and whether they're gonna do it are two different things, right? And what we've done is look at similar ordinances across the state, and there usually is a fee per call. And that varies depending on the jurisdiction. I don't know what that fee per call for this jurisdiction would be. I've inserted, just like as a placeholder, $30. I don't know, maybe that's too much, maybe it's too little. And I have a MOA drafted, ready for your consideration and Carteret County's consideration as to whether they would agree to do this. And so what does that mean? They're gonna have to send people out for their calls and things of that nature. So I have everything drafted, assuming you're content with Carteret County's ordinance. I have the resolution, we could actually adopt that tonight if that's what this board would like to do. And then my suggested next step is to say, hey, Carteret County, we have adopted your ordinance as your ordinance envisions. What can we do to make sure you guys come down here? And obviously, to me, that's more of a political discussion than a legal one. And so, Mayor, I don't know if you or someone else from the board wants to take that lead to see what you can work out. I can give you the template of what we're envisioning that they would sign, which essentially means that they're going to come in here and do everything animal control related. But they got to agree on it, right? So it looks pretty on paper that I've drafted, but maybe not so pretty if they don't agree to it. So this may be a back and forth with them. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I don't know if you've had a chance to review Carteret County's ordinance, and if you have and you're ready to proceed, I can read the resolution into the record that I would ask that you consider to adopt that ordinance.
If we adopt this ordinance as it's written, probably we can always, if we have trouble, if the county, we have problems negotiating this thing with the county, then we can always come back and do our own enforcement and everything, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's still your ordinance. Now, I don't know who's going to enforce it on behalf of the county. Dee's going to have to get a.
No, we got someone.
We got someone that will enforce it and be sworn in and all that stuff, so.
Okay.
If we had to go that route, but if the county will look for $30 a call, it's probably our cheapest route.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be charged to whoever calls?
No, I mean, it's just like a police or EMS call. I mean, they're going to look to you.
For payment?
I mean, it's kind of hard to try, like, if, for example, I see a rabid raccoon in my yard and I call up and animal control comes out and gets it, am I responsible for calling that rabid raccoon? You know what I mean? These services are typically things that just the government
Gotcha.
provides. Because it's a benefit to everybody.
Yeah, no problem.
One thing I came across, I was reading up on a little bit, was, and it may concern the issue or it may not, but if we in fact have a sworn person here in the town of Pelletier, that individual should be sworn as a law enforcement officer, right?
Well, the animal control officers, I know in Onslow County, are not law enforcement officers. They are animal control officers only. They are not law enforcement officers. I think some counties and some jurisdictions, animal control is within the sheriff's office or within the police department or everything. So I think you can do it either way. I don't think it's a requirement that it be law enforcement. The one thing I would say is you're going to want to make sure that whoever it is trained and appropriately trained to deal with these animals, because the law enforcement officer is trained but does not equate to animal control and vice versa, right? I mean, they're two different things.
The only thing is wouldn't we be opening ourselves up to some type of lawsuit if he's not trained as a law enforcement officer enforcing code?
No, I don't think that they have to be a law enforcement officer. I don't think that's necessary. I do think they need to be trained on how to perform the duties of an animal control officer.
Okay, play devil's advocate for just a second. So he goes over here to the last call that we had about an issue, and he gets assaulted.
Right.
So then what happens?
Then I hope this gentleman right there picks up whoever assaulted him and takes him to the jail house. I don't recommend that these folks carry firearms. They need something to protect themselves, like bear spray or something of that nature, to protect themselves from animals. But typically, the training this gentleman gets is shoot to kill, right? I mean, that is his training. They train him right here. And that's not always what we're talking about with animals, right? You don't have a torso you're looking at, you've got a four-legged thing running at you or whatnot. You want to give the animal control officer the tools necessary to protect him or herself, but I don't equate it to a law enforcement function, although it can be done that way. Some sheriff's offices do that way. I don't think many sheriffs want that headache. I will tell you, when you open up an animal control ordinance and you adopt that, people in animal control are passionate about animal control, right? And you're gonna get calls from people who are, the dog's outside, it's so cold outside. There's this, it's a very difficult.
Oh yeah, I understand that it's two different fortes or whatever. And the only reason I was bringing up the law enforcement issue was because if he goes out there and gets assaulted, then that's totally different. And some counties that I saw had a police officer with additional training as an animal control officer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
And a lot of times, if you think that there's going to be a volatile situation, it's beneficial for the animal control to go with the sheriff's office to the place, right? So you kind of have that protection there. Sometimes you don't know, right? So you don't know what you're getting into until you're there. So.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Okay. So would this board like to do? Would we like to go ahead and get something on record here tonight?
If you got something ready, I think that we do.
Yeah, I could read the resolution quickly. It's half a page. That I would ask that you consider adopting. And if you do this, the next step is to take this draft memorandum of agreement to Carteret County to see if they're willing to do it, right? But at least now you have an ordinance in place, whereas now you don't. So the resolution states, whereas North Carolina General Statute 168-174 delegates authority to towns to define and regulate by ordinance any conditions detrimental to health, safety, and welfare of its citizens or to the peace and dignity of the town. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 168-186 grants authority to towns to regulate any domestic animals, including but not limited to dogs and cats. And whereas the Pelletier Town Council desires to provide sufficient protection and safety to all of its citizens. And whereas the County of Carteret has duly codified and enforces an ordinance for the regulation of animals titled Carteret County, North Carolina Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, Animals Incorporated here by reference. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 153A-122 authorizes the town council to adopt the county ordinance by resolution to be fully applicable and enforceable within the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council for the town of Pelletier, North Carolina hereby formally adopts the Carteret County, North Carolina Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, Animals, in its entirety, and hereby confers Carteret County Animal Services jurisdiction and authority within the town of Pelletier for enforcement of the Carteret County Animal Control Ordinance. And then essentially what's attached to that is their ordinance, so you would be adopting it in full.
We don't need a public hearing.
Not for animal control.
I make a motion, we pass the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to pass this resolution on animal control. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, okay, that's good. All right, next on the agenda is charges for the planner's use. You know, we're very fortunate to have Carlton as our planner, and so to help with the costs of this, you know, instead of all the citizens having to pay the full price, I mentioned to Carlton about having charges, you know. So anyhow, you have in front of you a draft of some charges that Carlton drew this up, and he's also gave you where he pulled it from. Is that correct? So anyhow, so this would up our charges for, like, our zoning application is right at the time is $50. This would raise it to $75 for residential. Commercial will be instead of $50, $375. Signs will go from 25 to 85. Wind energy facilities will be 1,000.
What is that? The
Windmills and stuff. And the list goes right on down. Special use applications 450, petition for rezone 525. What's OD or UDO?
Unified Development Ordinance.
Well, everybody knew but me.
I,
That's what.
I probably should have separated those into zoning and subdivision ordinance. I apologize.
No, you're fine, man. That's 450. You know, and the list goes right on down. So anyhow, this is something for y'all to look at. It was something that I figured that would be useful to help offset some of the charges that we're getting right now. So anyhow, either we can put this back on the agenda for next month, or can this be drafted? It's draft now, but can these charges be voted on as they are?
As far as it would be separate from it's not like a change to an ordinance, because I'm assuming it would be changing the fee schedule. I don't know if there are other requirements for amending a fee schedule. Do you know?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. The only specific requirement under 160 is that when you create or you increase a fee related to subdivision approval, there's a special notice requirement you have to do. And it's not difficult. It's basically have a sign on the door. There's something else that needs to be done. So I think maybe have a notice, something on the website. It has to be like 14 days prior to the date that this would be considered.
Okay.
So
basically, then all we would need is a motion to move forward on this.
yes,
And then allow you the time to work with B on the requirements that we need to do.
I don't think there's any other requirements. I think that if the board wanted to vote on this, the board could vote on the portions of this proposed fee schedule that are not subdivision related right now. But, it might be a better idea just to consider it all together at the following meeting, so we can include the subdivision.
Yeah, I'd rather do it as a package deal and be done with it, so, yeah, if this board agrees
So we can
to,
do it next month.
yeah, if y'all agree to raise these prices.
I agree.
This is the, our proposed compared to other towns, right?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Yes, basically, this was a two-step process coming up with this recommended fee schedule. I had to go through the ordinance and see, what qualifies as a development approval. And I also pulled out a few other things that are normally done by planners or the zoning officer, like the zoning verification letters. And then I basically started at Pelletier and just worked my way outward. So I had to, not all of the development approvals can be compared one-to-one as you see with some of these. They can be worded differently. There can be more intensive review process, a less intensive review process. Some things are, you can't, sometimes it's kind of like comparing apples to oranges. But I tried to fit in the most similar, most relevant, or try to match the most relevant or most similar development approval to what we consider approval by this town. There's a lot of situations, or there's a lot of, especially with the subdivision approvals, where I referenced only the base amount, because they'll have like a floor where they'll say at least this much money to review, and then an extra amount of money for every additional lot or every additional acre. So I'm using, I use the lowest amount, and then for the purposes of comparison. But yes, basically I wanted to look at the average and the median or middle number from as many of these as I could collect, and kind of going from there, come up with what I thought would be a reasonable amount for the town, especially considering that the town does not have a planner on staff right now and is outsourcing. So, if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to.
What do you want from us? A motion that says get started?
Oh, no, basically if y'all are happy with the amounts, then we can just hold off voting for approval till the next meeting, since we'll have to have that special notice for the subdivision.
Okay, you can do it with nothing then.
So we could table this
You can
till
table
the
it.
next
Yeah, you
meeting?
can table it till next meeting.
All right, do I hear a motion that we table the charges, until our next meeting?
Table it.
We actually didn't have a table, we hadn't taken any action or anything, it's just bring it up next meeting, right? We didn't have a table.
Yeah.
Well, you can put it on the agenda again. Huh?
Either, however you want to do it. You guys want it on the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just put it on next meeting.
All right, just put it on the next meeting.
Still
Compared to
be under old business next month, or it's still gonna be new business?
It'll still be new.
Yeah, it'll just be a new item.
So we come prepared to
So it's
vote
still
on
new
it.
business,
Yeah.
but March.
It gives a chance to look at it. That's the first time I saw it tonight.
Okay.
I see that we're, looks like we're a little above average on most of all these ones that you got here, which is fine with me.
Yeah, and I wanted to make, I want to help the town recoup costs, but also I wanted the fees to be reasonable, yeah. And
Yeah.
in line with, not excessive.
We're not trying to make money, we're just trying to break even.
Yeah, well, and even if we don't break even, if we can offset it some, is better than none. So, okay, next is public comments.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is that fees that we will charge the people that want these permits?
Yes.
Okay.
Alice?
I just want to say, in regards to the animal situation, they are prepared in Carter, because about 2.5 months ago, I had pigs eating my yard up, and this went on. I fill up the holes and chase them away. They come back, and finally, I called animal control. I had all kinds of people come, animal control, sheriff's department, and we got rid of the pigs.
Well, I had a similar situation. I called animal control and they said they couldn't come into service until it's here because we didn't have an ordinance.
That's
And
right.
I had all kinds of
Alice
people.
is don't know.
Alice, you could have just called Tim Moore and his boys, and that took care of it. They need them.
Anybody else? Ronald?
I have a few things. Number one, that we're working on the plan use, and I would like to challenge each board member here to present me with a vision of what you want to see in the next 10 or 20 years for Pelletier. And I would like to have a written 2 or 3 sentence statement from each one of you gentlemen to see what we got going on.
Okay.
And I also, we're talking about the salvage lot and all, like Sonny's talking about. I would like to challenge you and Lieutenant Jensen to look at the lot behind my house.
Okay. What is that? Do you know that address?
133 Sandsboro Lane.
Here we go again.
Oh, yeah, it's getting worse, Dale.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Her boyfriend or whoever, David Donald, is using it for a construction salvage lot, and he's old concrete and stuff, he's using it for a dumping ground, and it needs to be took care of. It's a residential lot, it's not a junkyard. And that's all I have.
All right. Anybody else?
I didn't have a public comment, but I did have a call this week from a resident over in Bedford Shores, Bedford Shores.
Pilton Shores?
Yeah, and I thought they were gonna be here tonight. I don't know whether they'll be able to help them or not, but they should have been here to hear what we're trying to do with our subdivision ordinance. If we'd had problem, if things had happened before, it probably been helping them with some of their problems now they're having with the developer. I don't think we could probably do anything as a town to help them, but I told the sheriff to glad to listen. And they'll understand that from what the questions that they had, she was having about the developer not doing what it's supposed to be doing about anything.
Didn't the county,
Their HMO is working with them, but
wasn't the county the one signed off on that? So I would think they'd have to go back to the county.
but that's just the HMO's got it.
Okay.
And it's been a year or something, but anyway, they've got all kinds of problems because they got an engineer to sign off on their on the septic systems out there. The septic systems are failing. Stormwater runoff not working. But anyway, our ordinances done to help alleviate some of the problems that these subdivisions are having now.
Exactly. All right, we'll move on. Old business, none at this time. Other business, none at this time. Commissioner's comment, Commissioner Quinn.
Yeah, I have a couple comments. sick and I couldn't attend. And I've been coming out here, August will be 4 years. I think it's quite despicable that nobody except Mr. Mason made a motion and nobody backed it up. I think it's despicable. The other thing I have to say is, I'm glad to see things occurring that's starting to look good. Stuff that Mr. Jensen and the fire chief are working on are stuff that I've been harping about for almost 2.5 years. And I'm glad to see it finally getting done. And I was challenged by Commissioner Vincent to put my name to anything that I needed to back up. And I did so during the election. And I'll tell you another thing. I am not going anywhere for 21 months. So try and run me off. You're not gonna run me off like you did him. That's all I have to say.
That's all right.
You know exactly who I'm.
Commissioner Mason,
I'm not
No,
gonna
I
say
think
his
I'm
name.
good.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes,
Commissioner Vincent.
I ain't run nobody off. I don't know what you talking about, Larry. I really don't.
All right, this, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, our next meeting's, March 4th, 6:30. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Oh, what amazing. The plan.
Yeah.